Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I am your host, Willie Bragg. Tonight, I am going to concentrate on the topic of no more heroes. And what do I mean by no more heroes? Because after all, we have been basically misled. We have been, how I describe it. Some of us have been you could say we've been misled, to the point where, we have to kind of just find a way to not find ourselves to be discouraged anymore. And that's the point I'm trying to make. So, and so when I think of no more heroes, We're talking about pretty much the last decade, stretching on the last decade. Now I'm going to concentrate mostly on four, with a fifth person that's not mentioned yet on that's not posted on the thumbnail of the video, because the verdict is out on this fifth person. So and so let me just start off what I mean. No more heroes, because they will disappoint you in one way or another. Even if they have good intentions, something happens that they will just disappoint you, and that means that it is all within us to do this, to fix this shit. We need to fix this shit ourselves. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to scare the hell out of every one of y'all listening, and I'm going to go and do some karaoke right now. And there's a song called "No More Heroes" by the Stranglers, which was a punk band from the UK. I guess they're still around. From 1977, so I believe was their second single, from 1977, and it's called "No More Heroes." So it's going to go and like segue into what we need to talk about. So you've been warned. I haven't done a karaoke in a while. Here you go. Warning. Here we go. Whatever happened to Leon Trotsky? He got an ice pick that made his ears burn. Whatever happened to dear old Lennon, the Grey Mara, and Sancho Panza? Whatever happened to the heroes? Whatever happened to the heroes? Whatever happened to all the heroes? All those heroes, and then their own fun. Whatever happened to the heroes? Whatever happened to the heroes? No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore. Whatever happened to all those heroes? All those Shakespeare heroes? They're done. Whatever happened to those heroes? Whatever happened to the heroes? No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore. there you go. That was Stranglers. 1977. They were originally called the Guilford Stranglers, and then they changed their name to the Stranglers. They were part of the original wave of punk rock, new wave that broke out in England around the same time as the Sex Pistols and the Damned and all those guys that came out back then. So anyway, so there you have it. And as I said, and they're saying basically, heroes comes and goes, and that's what the song's about, and that's one lane segue too. So, let's go with the obvious first person to talk about, and that'll be old Bernie Sanders, because I'm gonna tell you. You talk about a hero of mine at that time. He was a hero of mine initially. I mean, anybody who knows me would tell you they'll vouch. I mean, I sometimes I used to brag about it. I joke about it now that I was the original Bernie bro, and I really was. I was, as I said, I've said this multiple times that I was the original Bernie bro. And but the problem was that after he bent the knee to Hillary, that he was going to be a team player. Now, the problem with the team playing with Bernie is that not only did he become a team player, he became pretty much part of the team where he abandoned the movement. He pretty much abandoned the movement. He gives you good rhetoric. He still where you can almost think he's sincere about it. And okay, some critics have said he was just there to sheepdog you into the Democratic Party. I will give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he was trying to lead a revolution, but I think that considering that this is the United States, considering how small the left is, there is no really established left the way that there is in other countries around the world. Whether we're talking about Western democracies or the developing world, we don't have an organized left. We have two political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. The Republicans is the far right party that has, I say sometimes, a fascist party. The Republican Party has a lot of fascists in it, and it has a lot of hard right-wing people in it. They have a very fading away, disappearing moderate wing. The Democratic Party has a very weak left that's cut and disciplined and then pussified, with pretty much the people in charge would have been considered basically pro-choice, relatively pro-LGBTQ Republicans 30 years ago, that type. They're in charge of the Democratic Party's leadership today. Is basically what George Herbert Walker Bush would have been like if he would have been a Democrat. That's the Democratic Party as we have it today. And when people say the Democratic Party has gone so far to the left, they're full of shit. They are full of shit. And I'm going to be politically incorrect for a moment. Okay. Thinking an individual in the Democratic Party thinking, hey, two dudes sucking each other's cock, two women muff diving, and then two same gender people getting married. It's pretty cool. It's not leftist. It makes you a tolerant and a good person. Doesn't make you leftist. Rainbow capitalism doesn't make you leftist. I'm glad that people think that they're positive values. They are positive values. But I think that's what people think about woke. They're thinking, oh, you're just a little bit too tolerant on the LGBTQ. You're woke. Goddamn right I'm woke, if that's what it means to be woke. But the thing about it is that's the way people think in this country. So the Democratic Party is weak as far as this left flank is concerned. You have two conservative parties is basically what I'm saying. And I can't in any way, shape, or form be part of this two-party swamp. Because to me, to vote for a Democrat or a Republican is to be part of the system. You're voting basically for the same policy of more corporatism and more war. And I'm not going to be part of it. I refuse to be part of it. I will not be a part of it. Next person, Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, was I fooled with her? Was I fooled with her? Because Tulsi Gabbard, I used to joke about her. I call her the grown-up AOC. That's what I used to call her. And she came across as as against the military-industrial complex, and she was like pro-environment and pro-single-payer healthcare, relatively. I mean, the Bernie plan was better than her plan, but she was theoretically the second most left-wing candidate running in the Democratic primary in the year 2020. And how sad it was. Now, leaving the Democratic Party, that part I had no problem with. The problem I had with her leaving the Democratic Party was, I'm an independent, she would say, and then endorse every Republican that walked her path. That's not being very independent, if you ask me, especially when some of them are pro-war. The thing that she says she's against. And now she's starting to echo a lot of the talking points of the neocons. The Tulsi Gabbard became the very thing she campaigned against, and the very thing she was against 4 years ago. I blame Hillary Clinton. You've heard me say this before. I blame Hillary Clinton. She drove her to the right. And she's still to the left of Hillary Clinton even now. What do you think of that? But the thing is that this is what happens with the left eating its own, because they didn't sufficiently defend her when she needed defending in 2019, and she went where the love was at. She's obviously a very attractive woman, a veteran. That goes a long way with some of the normie conservatives out there. And I'm talking about the normal conservatives who are not necessarily bad people, but kind of middle of the road. Maybe some of them have more than just some odious views. They're a little further to the right in the middle of the road, but this is what they saw, and they embraced her, and she went where the love was at. This is why the left can't get anywhere, folks. And you lost somebody really good in her case. And I just want to say that I am still disappointed with Tulsi Gabbard with coming up with the positions that she comes up with. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you doing this? But then again, I just answered that. So next person we're going to talk about is, of course, the one and only Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We all know who she is, of course. Gosh, she was another disappointment. Because she came in there as a fire breather, firebrand in 2018, doing a sit-in at Nancy Pelosi's office. That sort of thing. And she was upsetting not just the Republicans, she was upsetting the Democrats. And I was just like, I don't like to use the term yes queen, because that's just kind of whatever. But I'm going to say yes queen. Okay, it's one thing to sit there and endorse Biden in 2020, whatever, lesser two evils, but you wouldn't do force the vote. And then little by little, you just wouldn't do anything. She's a coward. She's a coward that's afraid to do anything other than to be attractive. And to some degree, it's not 100% her fault. I mean, she got elected. She's very attractive, and the camera's always on her face. The camera follows her everywhere she goes. And so, I mean, she's got an image to maintain. I think that's basically what it comes down to. And unfortunately, she felt like those cocktail parties are important to her. The perks of being a member of Congress is important to her. So she basically fucked the movement. Just as Bernie Sanders says, fuck the movement. Just as Tulsi Gabbard said, fuck the movement. She also said, fuck the movement. So very discouraging too with AOC. And this, all three of them, their foreign policy has become one and the same. I had not heard Bernie talking about Julian Assange, which bothered me. I never heard AOC talking about Julian Assange. And when was the last time we've heard Tulsi Gabbard? She used to talk about Julian Assange. When was the last time she talked about Julian Assange? I want to know. I want answers. Robert Kennedy. Now, Robert Kennedy might be the most mainstream of all the people I'm talking about tonight, in the sense that he's a fucking Kennedy. Establishment as hell. Relatively liberal, maybe. Still, I don't know at this point. He came in there announcing his announcing his candidacy in the Democratic primaries. We know what the Democrats love to do in primaries these days. We saw it in 2016, we saw it in 2020, and we're seeing what they have done to Robert Kennedy and Marianne Williamson right now as we speak. I don't blame them for running as an independent. The first red flag I had, or first problem I had with Robert Kennedy, was his rejection of Medicare for All, and given a very typical corporate Democrat answer toward Medicare for All. That's the second worst answer to I wholeheartedly oppose it was, oh, well, access to health care, and well, if we were to start it all over from scratch, I suppose I would support Medicare for All, but we just can't. He gave a very Obama answer to the question of Medicare for All. It's great that you go and challenge big pharma, but you challenge big pharma in a way that the Republicans challenge big pharma, on the COVID question. It's just like, why don't you challenge big pharma on the whole process, just the profit motive of big pharma? That's where you need to do it, and do it by, I don't know, nationalizing the whole damn industry. You don't talk about that. That would go a long way. You talk about nationalizing big pharma. That would go a long way with me, Mr. Kennedy. It was great hearing him talk about the Ukraine-Russian conflict. Why we need to negotiate and we don't need to be quagmire into war. I thought he was a legitimate peace candidate. He was talking about free speech. It was great hearing a Democrat talking about free speech again. And then the whole thing with the misunderstanding about Roger Waters, and he didn't want to look anti-Israel. Dude, you could have defended Roger Waters. Nobody would have associate Roger Waters' position on Israel with you defending him. But you wanted to go and act like you were just you started doing a public relations rim job for Israel nonstop. All these supporters you had, potential supporters you had, they would have just assumed. I'm talking about your Jimmy Dores, your Kim Iversons, your Max Blumenthal's, all of these folks. They probably would have just assumed you were pro-Israel, and would have let it slide by, possibly. But you did you just did your little public relations rim job for the Netanyahu government, and it was just too much for them. And I understand that totally. And so you got obnoxious about it to the point where you're supporting censorship, cracking down on student organizations on campus that say mean things about Israel. I thought you said you were for free speech. And you're now a hawk. You're talking about, wanting to go. You sound great on Russia, Ukraine, but you want to go and put the military everywhere else around the world. Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? And, this conspiracy stuff that you talk about and everything. I mean, I mean, I disagree with a lot of conspiracy theorists and all of that, but whatever. People are eccentric or what have you, and there was a part of me be like, well, he's kind of eccentric. I can deal. I'm cool with eccentric people, but what's the use to run president? You're just another Joe Biden. You're another Joe Biden. You're Joe Biden with some soft Alex Jones conspiracy theories. That's what you are, Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy. You know what? You're the worst of everybody I'm talking about tonight. I mean, Dennis Kucinich couldn't take it anymore. He had to leave your campaign. I mean, you lost some of your best people. So, what the fuck? And this person I'm going to mention here, I really feel bad about, because I have every intention, because if he's on the ballot in November next year, I have every intention of voting for Cornel West. And it's not that I think that Cornel West is, basically a sellout or what have you. I think he means what he means, and he means what he says, and he says what he means. In fact, I mean, as much as I'm kind of beating up on Bernie, I do think he means what he says. But Bernie decided that his career, not wanting to be the next Ralph Nader, is more important than meaning what you say. He allowed, that is Cornel West, he allowed Peter Dow to destroy his campaign. To instead of getting on the ballot with the Green Party, that to just go and run as an independent. I would have rather for you to stay with the People's Party and make a go at it with the People's Party, because at least you would have looked more consistent. You're going from People's Party to the Green Party to independent. You look like you're going all over the place. And so I felt like Peter Dow played you like he played Marianne Williamson. That's why I think that people should not trust Peter Dow. I think that anybody on the left that has good vibes about Peter Dow, I tell them, stop it. Because look what Peter Dow did to Marianne Williamson. Whatever you may think of Marianne Williamson, and look what he did to Cornel West. He is toxic. He's a Clintonista. Peter Dow's a Clintonista, and he was there to sabotage the Cornel West campaign. And so, Cornel West, I felt like if Cornel West would have gotten the Green Party nomination easily, and listen, Joe Biden is trying his damnedest to get us into World War III, it seems like. So I'm with Cabela when he says, I don't care who wins in the election next year. Okay, Cabela for Heartland's meeting. He said, I don't care who wins the next election. Because I really don't. Because I mean, if it's going to be one or the other, yeah, is it going to matter? Because I mean, I don't feel like the country has moved left under Biden. The country just kind of stayed the same. I never felt like when Democrats are president, the country's moved further left. Sometimes the country moved actually further right. I mean, look at the Obama presidency. The unions were weaker when Obama left the White House in January 2017. Case in point. So, I mean, it's funny when I hear Republicans talking about, oh my God, the Democrats are going to win. We're going to be closer to socialism. We were a hell of a lot closer to socialism under President Dwight Eisenhower in the 1950s. Dwight Eisenhower was more of a socialist than Joe Biden or Bill Clinton or Barack Obama at their most progressive. And that's where we're at, America. That is where we're at. So anyway, But as I said, I'm planning to vote for Cornel West if he's on the ballot in North Carolina. And then if he's on the ballot in North Carolina. And but I'm not going to donate just yet because I am a little bit reluctant to do so because I feel like he might drop out of the race out of fears of the orange man. And just I don't want to sit there and donate to a candidate that's going to drop out. Now, if it's the fall and he's still campaigning, even if he's not on the ballot in my state, I will still I'll donate to Cornel West. I would, but at the same time, my enthusiasm momentum that I had significantly dropped. I was about ready to buy a T-shirt. I was about ready to do all that, but at this point. So anyway, the premise of what I'm saying is that we don't need heroes. We need each other, and they help each other out. And if you're lucky enough to join in a job to have a labor union, be involved, make that union stronger. If you're you have the time, there's an event, anti-war event, go to it. Do what you can. We have lots of foreign policy events to protest on behalf, such as the people of Palestine and Gaza, the war in the Ukraine, the potential war between Russia and Taiwan, China and Taiwan, various conflicts around the world. And then there's always just a runaway military industrial complex. And then there's, as imperfect as they are, and they these days, and I used to believe in them passionately, but I still do good work. There's still the ACLU. Domestically, you have Ron DeSantis of Florida, who's using that state as a laboratory of fascism. So you got to go and fight, against censorship and against an abusive law enforcement, that sort of thing. There's various issues out there that we have to take it upon ourselves to do. We just can't look at somebody in Washington, D.C. and expect them to solve all our problems. And that's been my problem, with Bernie. I've thought, oh, well, Bernie comes in there, I know he'll be fighting on my behalf. And I remember not too long ago, I worked graveyard shift. I went to bed thinking, well, AOC's just causing a ruckus in D.C. Oh, I need to slap myself silly for saying that. And Tulsi Gabbard, she is one of the sexiest sellouts ever. So is AOC. They're gorgeous sellouts. They're the prettiest sellouts I've ever seen. But a sellout is a sellout. So, oh well, it is what it is. But the point I'm trying to say is, we have to be the change. We can't allow we can't allow ourselves to rely on people in Washington, D.C. to be that change. Oh, if they're actually doing the change and fighting on behalf of our interests, that's great. But until then, we got to do it ourselves. Okay, we have here Warren. He says RFK lost his field staff too. Yes, he fucking did. And he brought it on himself, I'm afraid. So, if Weird Wednesday is on tonight still, I'm planning to watch it, but I'll be watching it while I'm at work. So I probably won't be commenting too much. They call me in, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm usually off on Tuesday. So everybody go on Extra Booyah And I'll let me go ahead and put that up there for y'all. Give me a moment here, and I'll whoop, no, that's not what I was trying to do. Let's see. All right, and I'll put this up as a link. As you go on YouTube, I can't put every link up there, but since y'all watching predominantly on YouTube, I'm going to put the YouTube link right now. So you all go on his on at 12 o'clock tonight. Let's see. And his program tonight's going to be called Wicked Wednesday. So there we go. And you can look him up on Extra Bula, youtube.com/@Extra and you'll be able to find Warren. So there you have it. So anyway, let's see what we got here. We have let's see. All right, let's see here. Thanks for the show, says Game of the Film. That's thank you. I appreciate that. Weird Wednesday was wicked last week. It was wicked cool. So everyone, I am going to wish you all a great night. I had to grab a bite to eat before work, so I'll talk to you all later. Take care.